That is one of the worst selling Hyundais in Australia. And it's not because it's bad, it's just because it's not an SUV. You see, Australia is obsessed with SUVs, and that's a sedan. It's a Sonata N Line, and it's just been updated, and it's outstanding. The thing is, most people will never know how outstanding it is, apart from you, after you've watched this video. You ready? Oh, if you want to read the full review, go to carsguide.com.au. Let's go. Okay, so there's only one Sonata in Australia. Well, there's not one, you don't have to share it. There's only one grade, it's the N Line grade, and it's the super sporty version. List price is $55,500, but you get heaps of standard features. Oh, let me show you. Not only does this updated Sonata N Line have a lot of features, it has a lot of new ones. There's the 12.3-inch curved screens, the digital climate control display. There's a column-mounted gear shifter, that's it there. LED ambient lighting and a hands-free tailgate. That's in addition to proximity unlocking, sat-nav, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a 12-speaker Bose sound system. There's also these suede and Napa leather seats, a leather steering wheel, sunroof, dual-zone climate control, heated and ventilated front seats, a heated steering wheel, LED headlights, and this LED strip, also known as the seamless horizon. And being the N Line, it gets sporty styling. Let me show you. Yes, this being an N Line adds fierce styling from the 19-inch alloy wheels to the aero kit. This updated Sonata N Line has a completely new face, with the LED seamless horizon strip and the LED headlights hidden below it. It's almost alien-like, and so too is the rear view with the new LED taillights. Inside, the cabin feels and looks new and premium as well, with the expansive screens and leather seats. I really like the interior of this car. I love these Napa leather and suede seats. I love the dashboard, the digital climate control, these huge screens which sort of sweep across the dashboard. Oh, and check this out. This is actually the gear shifter. You turn it that way to go into drive, that way to go to reverse, and then hit the end of it to go into park. And what that does, it actually clears up all this space here. So you've got a wireless phone charger there, you've got USB ports, places for your keys and your wallet and everything like that. A deep center console box as well. Oh, do you know what that is? That, now I thought it was a speaker, but it's not. I'll show you what it is. That is a place to put notes and photos and whatever else you want to put up. It's kind of like a fridge, and you can't get a drink out of it. That'd be a good idea. Actually, talking of getting out, let me get out and I'll show you the back seats. But before I do, here's a difference in practicality between a sedan and an SUV. Sedans are quite low, typically, and that makes getting in and out, especially if you're tall, quite hard. So getting out, I always do it with a grunt. Now, when I get into the back seat, again, the same issue. I've got to get down quite low. But back seat room is quite good. Check out this. That's in my driving position, and there's so much room. Now, if I shuffle across, there is a transmission tunnel there. I've got to sort of like get over that. Like you've drawn the short straw if you have to sit in the center. But headroom is also surprisingly good, and that's because, now I think you might be able to see it here, the roof has these sort of carved out areas in it where your head goes into, like a rock pool. That's fantastic. All right, let me show you the boot. I think you'll be impressed by that as well. Now, again, SUVs have got big hatch openings. They're basically hatchbacks that are on stilts. Sedans, different story. The boot is quite big. It is a big boot and it can fit all our CarsGuide luggage, but the reason why it's not as practical as an SUV is because this aperture is nowhere near as big. Do you know what that is? That's an engine. It's a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder turbo-petrol engine. It's actually the same engine that was in the previous Sonata, but it's a good one. It makes 213 kilowatts, which is quite a lot of power, and 420 newton meters of torque. Not bad either. It's got an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's a dual clutch, very fast. And it's front-wheel drive. You can't get all-wheel drive, okay? All rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. Actually, that reminds me. Do you want to go for a drive? Let's do it. Okay, turn the car on. It's got an ignition button. Now, that exhaust note is really, really nice to my ears, but it's a little bit fake. It's augmented and it's piped through the speakers. So it sounds really good, and it actually does sound good on the outside as well, but it's a little bit fake, okay? Just thought you should know. Another thing you should know as well is that this driver's seat doesn't go any lower than this. I feel like I'm sitting up quite high, but it doesn't go any lower. It can go higher, but, I don't know why you'd want to go any higher. But yeah, the driving position isn't fantastic, but I tell you what is fantastic. Put that into drive. It takes a bit of getting used to that gear selector. The engine is fantastic. So it's a 2.5 litre turbo-petrol engine, and it's hard to find something in this class which is as good as this. Now that dual clutch automatic, it shifts super fast, so you can go up and down through the paddles, and I'm doing it now. And yeah, you can shift a lot faster than you could do yourself with a manual gearbox. And it just adds to the sportiness of this Sonata N Line. Now the suspension is also quite firm. It's sports suspension, so over potholes like the ones we're going on now, you can really feel sort of every single bump in the road, but in return you get really good handling. Okay, so look, it does have fairly firm suspension, but look, I don't think it's a deal breaker, but you'll drive it and see what you think, okay? Now with this updated model of the Sonata, Hyundai has improved the noise intrusion. So they've added more insulation, and they've also got rid of squeaks and bumps and rattles with various different components as well. And I do feel that it is pretty quiet in here, even on a road like this with really coarse chip bitumen. Now another new thing that Hyundai have done to the Sonata is that they have made the structure of the car more rigid, and that should also help with handling too. But what I can tell you is that the steering feels excellent. It's weighted really well, the turn-in is really good, and it's really accurate as well. Coming around these corners here, these brilliant little corners, the grip is great. The car feels so dynamic and so well balanced. And that's another good thing about sedans too. I came down this road in a big SUV and I was bouncing all over the place, and I was leaning like I was in a rowboat or something. And this is going up here a lot flatter. That's because my center of mass is a lot lower. Okay, let's talk about fuel economy. Now, it is a turbo petrol, so it will use, it's a sporty car, it will use more petrol than something which is a bit more sedate. Hyundai says 8.1 litres per 100 over a combination of urban and open roads. And we tested that at the launch yesterday, and we got exactly 8.1 litres per 100 as well. Look, I took a photo to prove it. Okay, so where's the hybrid version? Where's the electric version? Very good questions. Now, as for an electric version, I don't know. Will they keep the Sonata around or replace it with an electric one? I don't know either. I reckon it's possible. But there is actually a hybrid version, but we can't get it in Australia. Hyundai have told us that it just wasn't available to our market, which is a real shame because seriously, 8.1 litres per 100, that's not, that's not too thirsty, but in the city, that's going to get even thirstier, and a hybrid version of this car would make so much sense. Now, in terms of safety, it's got everything, and I mean everything, okay? It's got AEB with pedestrians, cyclists, and other vehicle detection. Actually, it can detect motorbikes now. That's the new feature. So it's also got blind spot warning, but it's got a function where it pulls you into your lane if there's a car coming up beside you. It's got lane keeping assistance and rear cross traffic alert as well. Rear cross traffic alert with braking so that you don't bump into a pole when you're parking. All good stuff. The Sonata is covered by Hyundai's 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, but there's no cap price servicing, okay? You can get prepaid plans. There's a lifetime plan and there's a 5-year plan, and basically you're looking at between $350 and $400 per year on average. Not overly expensive. So there you have it, the Sonata N Line. It's not a big seller. It probably never will be a big seller in Australia, but it's an outstanding car. The thing is, because we're so obsessed with SUVs in Australia, most people will never know. But I tell you what, I like that Hyundai keeps it available, you know, for people that don't want to be like everyone else.